Hi everybody, I'm Andrea.
And I'm Danny.
And we're Voice the Meeple. Tonight we're reviewing Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay by Panda Cult Games.
Yeah, it is a Kickstarter version of the game, but we actually picked it up from our local game store. Didn't back on Kickstarter. Yes. I don't remember seeing it on there. I think if I had, I probably would have backed it, but was able to snag it afterwards. So. Yeah.
What differentiates this one from the basic version?
Yeah, so the main difference is it comes with a lot more characters that you can play as.
Okay.
It also comes with one extra boss and that extra boss scenario.
But basically what they're seeing here is what they'll get?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So an overview of the game. It's a dungeon crawler. You are, playing as these characters. These are my painted characters from our campaign. And in each scenario, you're going to be battling bad guys, and each scenario has a different goal. So depending on what it is, it could be just kill all the bad guys or do something else. But you're moving around and attacking and collecting goodies that you get to take with you into the next scenario. So yeah, that's basically the game in a nutshell.
Okay, likes and dislikes?
Yeah, likes and dislikes.
Okay.
What do you like about it?
I love the characters. I feel like they each have a lot of personality, especially because you painted the minifigs. If you aren't into painting, P.S., they all come gray. So if you like painting, bonus. If you don't, maybe not so much. But anyway, Danny is getting into painting.
I'm getting into it, but I mean, there are a lot of enemies, so I kind of decided I'd paint our characters and I'll paint the bosses, but I'm not going to paint like 40 enemies.
There are a lot of them. But yeah, I was saying I really like the characters. They're vibrant. I mean, mine is a little fox sitting on the shoulder of is it a golem that she controls, little robot. And the drawings on the cards are beautiful and fun. Each character has their own special abilities that are interesting. Our boys love playing as their characters and learning their names, and it's really fun.
Yeah. I definitely like the replayability of it. It has, so in a campaign you're going to play 10 missions, and from what we've seen, they're pretty different. We've had some that have a mission of escorting an NPC through and just protecting them,
retrieving items.
Yeah, the boss scenarios are very different.
Yeah.
But when you're going on this campaign, after each scenario, you're going to have a choice between 3 different scenarios, and so total there are, I think, 25 scenarios, and so once you get through the first 10, you can go back and start the campaign over and make different choices, and you'll have a bunch of other scenarios to play. And
you could also do the whole thing again as a different character.
Yeah, as different characters, and that's going to be very different. Your playing style is a different character, so yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Another thing that I really love about the game is these question marks here on the board. When you enter that space, you don't know what's going to be there. It could be a bad guy, it could be some treasure, or it could be an event. And the events are really fun. Our boys love going for the question marks, even if it's not great.
We'll be in the fight of our lives.
And they're like, whoa, what's over there?
They're heading to the other side.
You're like, no. But there have been some really, some of these have made me laugh out loud, and other ones are like, oh, an interesting choice that you have to make. Remember? It's great.
Yeah, some of them are very fun. Now, one minor complaint about them, though.
That's true.
I wish they all, or the majority of them at least, were giving you choices on what to do, or more kind of like the Gloomhaven scenarios.
Yeah.
I really like that. In this, we've come across maybe 1 or 2 that do that, but almost
the rest
all
are
of them.
Dice rolls.
Yeah, it's a dice roll, or it's just something that happens to you.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of fun. It's a fun little, what's going to happen? But it would be really cool if almost all of them were.
If you had more choice,
what are you
in the matter.
Do?
Yeah.
But they are fun. It adds a fun element to the game in each scenario, and they're considered darkness tiles, so you can't see through them. So they're kind of barriers out there on the board.
Oh yeah, you wanted to talk about that idea of activating the enemies, right?
That is another thing I like. A fun gameplay element. In this game, enemies don't come towards you. They won't try to chase you down or anything until they see you. So they have to be activated. And that just creates some cool choices, some tactical movement out on the board. That is just, you have to think about where you're moving, because you only want to activate as few enemies at a time as possible. You can just take a few on at a time.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go into line of sight of more enemies and more enemies.
By, say, pursuing a question mark on the other side of the board. Just a random example. Yeah, so
There are times though where I feel like they could have taken advantage of that more. There have been
Yeah.
a few scenarios where it's like there really aren't a lot of places we can go. It's kind of tunnel, where you go for you. But when you can, that's where the game shines, when you can really be moving around tactically.
And it is a beautiful board that you're looking at. Like, it has a lot of color. The design is really nice.
Yeah, the artwork's really cool, and you got on here you've got like this water area and these tentacles coming up. Out of the water.
And each board, they have above ground and below ground scenes, and those are very different, light and dark, and there's a lot of detail on the boards. I do wish that each scenario felt more different in terms of design. I don't necessarily feel like we're inhabiting completely different spaces. They all, for me, they kind of blend together in terms of aesthetics. And so I wish each one was like, oh, this is a grassy field, and this is a crowded village, and this is a... You don't really feel that.
I think we've kind of gotten spoiled by Gloomhaven on this.
Gloomhaven, yeah.
And, people might say it's unfair to compare it to Gloomhaven, but it costs about the same amount, so it is fair. In Gloomhaven, you do feel, you have a scenario where up on a mountaintop, and you feel like that because the artwork on the board and the overlay tiles and things that are out there. It'll tell you you're in a cave because there are stalagmites everywhere.
Right.
Or you're in a library because there are bookshelves everywhere.
Clearly, we just need more imagination. That's what's happening here. It's a lack of imagination on our part. Were those other pros we want to discuss?
Yeah, one other thing I really like, another gameplay element, is the way they deal with initiative in this game. So initiative is determined randomly at the start of every engagement, basically. You'll take all these cards, so that, each enemy has their own card and each player has their own card, and you'll shuffle them together and then deal them out into these slots on the initiative track, and each slot has a bonus. So the first slot here from Mary, which is Andrea's character, the fox, has a +1 defense in the top initiative slot.
Spot 2 is +1 attack. I can't talk.
Slot 3 is a +1 movement. So that is just kind of a cool element by itself. You have to worry about what bonuses you have, what bonuses the enemies have, but you also can control where you are in the initiative track. If you give up a turn, you can either jump to the top of the initiative track or go to the back of it, and then you push people around.
Everyone,
we haven't done it a ton, because it is a tough decision to be like, I'm going to give up my turn this turn to shift it around. But when you have a really tough enemy that's already hard to hit, that has an extra shield, then you can give up your turn and push him off of that bonus, which is it's a cool element to the game.
Yep, sure.
Yeah. Things we dislike.
Where to begin? Pacing is a little tricky for me. Maybe because we're playing with our boys, it's not quite fair. But I feel like each scenario is a little overlong. They could have shortened them a bit. But how long has each one been for us?
It's hard to say. We usually take a break when you end an engagement. So, we talked about there's an above ground and a below ground. You have, once you're done fighting here, that you'll see there's this ladder. Once you get on the ladder, you're going to flip all these over, maybe even bring out new ones, and you'll be below ground then because you've gone down below ground. So we usually take a break at the engagement, but it could be, 2.5 hours.
Long.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about, there are some issues tracking. There are a lot of little things to track, partly because of this, but also like wounds, and they are not done well in this game. It is really tricky to visualize, okay, how much shield does this person have? How many dice am I rolling? Because there's this, there could be a weapon that affects that, it could be your initial ability. It's annoying. It could be like people in the same square as me have +1 defense, and people 1 square away from Danny have an extra turn, but you don't have a way to log that. You just have to remember all those little teeny tiny things.
Yeah, they do have these tokens that show you +1 attack, +1 defense, or -1, and so you can hand those out. But it gets a little, especially the kind of the ones that depend on where you're at, like if someone's close to you or something. It's kind of a mess to keep track of things. The damage, so these are wound tokens over here. When you wound an enemy,
incidentally, they're hearts.
Yeah, they're hearts, but they're wounds.
Yes.
Our boys are very confused by that. So you have to just put it. If I wound this grunt right here, I just put a wound out on the board next to him, and if he moves, you got to move the wound around with him.
And they accrue a lot of wounds.
Yeah, so you'll have a bunch just sitting out there. It's kind of a mess.
We've been stealing things from Gloomhaven to make this a little easier to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, one complaint of mine is, kind of again with components. I think just overall with this game, it feels a little unpolished. And it's great in a lot of ways, but like the components are kind of flimsy. The way you track your experience, so it's just like a little flimsy board here, and there's just like this little clip that you clip on, and you have to move it along the side to keep track of your experience. And
it's not great.
Yeah, it's a little annoying. I end up jostling things around on here while I'm trying to do it.
The rule book, so we're not just the rules, but the scenarios that you're reading, the background, they're full of typos. They're not well written. You know, I like for something that has a strong theme like this to be immersive and engaging, and it's repetitive, and it's all written in past tense, which really bugs us for some reason. You know, it's not like you enter the crowded passageway, but it's the wanderers entered the passageway and decided what to do, and you're, oh. There's the idea of leveling up. Danny was showing this clip here on the edge and how when you move up, you can track your experience and level up. When you do level up, it spawns a bunch of bad guys on the board. So there is a strong disincentive to gain experience and level up, which is annoying because that's how you get new abilities and it's more interesting, but it really feels like, okay, we finally cleared up all the bad guys. Don't get better because they'll all come back again. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel that exact same way about Zombicide as well, where the spawns get worse in Zombicide when you level up. So you're always saying like, wait to level up as long as possible, basically. And
that is a strategy that you have to work at. You want to try to like level up at a similar rate. You want to try to time it, but it's mostly just.
It's annoying.
It is.
Leveling up should be something that's fun to do. In Gloomhaven, that's one of the big fun things about the game.
Yeah, like, I unlock a new ability, this is awesome, and next scenario things will be harder. But here it's like, okay, I finally did it, and we're back again.
And I do like, it's a campaign, so you get to keep items with you.
That's true.
So it does feel like you're developing the character a little bit, but your levels
you start back at 0.
It's just like in Zombicide and that, where you start back at 0 every round, which is kind of cool because then you can unlock different abilities next time you level up.
That's true.
But I would prefer to have the leveling up as the campaign goes.
Yeah. And to not have it give it immediate negative feedback when you level up that stuff. And then this is just a personal thing. I'm not a huge fan of combat via dice rolls.
That's Andrea's constant refrain, too much luck.
Too much luck! I've gotten spoiled. No. Again, I love the card element in Gloomhaven, and I don't like planning for an awesome attack and just rolling nothing. It's not my favorite.
As a counterpoint to that, I actually think, I prefer less luck, all else being equal, but the dice rolls in this game are pretty fun. There's one side of the die is a critical hit, a crit, and if you roll that counts as a hit, and then you get to roll another die on top of that, and if that's a crit, then you get to roll another one, and so, I don't know, it can be pretty fun.
But time consuming.
And luck heavy, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those are our thoughts about Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay. So yeah, if campaign-style games are your thing, you love dungeon crawlers, and especially one that is more accessible for families, kids. It's got fun little animals like the bear shark. they're all animals. These are otters, the grunts, and the archers are bunnies.
Very terrifying bunnies
with tentacles.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something you may want to check out.
I would say it might be worth, if you think these issues that we've talked about would bug you, which, then maybe wait for a second printing.
Yeah, hopefully they rewrite the book a little bit, get some of the typos out, maybe, jazz up the player boards.
Yeah, something to watch for. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.